Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered to talk about the brand new Secret Lair April Superdrop. We have a number of secret layers to talk about. The first one is already up on the screen. This is the showcase for Streets of New Capenna, and some of this artwork is going to look familiar to some of you as we found out in advance that these were coming, right? So the first card we've got here is Atraxa Praetor's Voice, which is 1 black, 1 blue, 1 white, and a green for a 4/4 legendary Phyrexian Angel Horror with Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink, and at the beginning of your end step Proliferate, all slapped onto a 4/4 body. Amazing. The artwork looks absolutely incredible and fits very well into this Capenna feel, right? It's got that Art Deco vibe in the background, and Atraxa looks incredibly radiant, almost angelic, really, which makes sense considering that they are an angel horror. We now also have Brea Ethereum Shaper, now with Fedora action. So 1 red, 1 black, 1 blue, and 1 white get you a 4/4 again. This time is a legendary human artifact creature. Ethereum Shaper, when she enters the battlefield, you get to create 2/1/1 blue Thopter artifact creatures that have flying, and you can pay 2 mana, sack 2 artifacts, choose one, do 3 damage to target player or planeswalker, target creature gets -4/-4 till end of turn, or you gain 5 life. All great options. One can keep you in the game longer, one can take your opponent out of the game faster, and one can smoke a creature. So all around, really solid. And Brea being done with this fedora hat is hilarious to me. The idea that she shows up in Capenna, looks at the fashion styles, and then decides, I want a big floppy brimmed hat, just tickles me the right way. Now, the third card we did not get to see previously, and that is Yidris Maelstrom Wielder. So this one is a surprise for me seeing this included. And this one is 1 green, 1 red, 1 black, 1 blue for a 5/4. And side note, I used to actually think he was the Maelstrom Wanderer, like he wandered around with a Maelstrom. Knowing that he wields it is so much more intense, and he's a legendary ogre wizard, which is really funky. So he's got trample, and whenever he deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they get cascade. So basically, whenever you play a spell from your hand, you're going to get to flip over cards from the top of your deck until you find a spell that costs less and play it for free. That is a very, very strong ability. And the artwork is a lot of fun, right? You can see Yidris sitting here. Does he have a belt made out of skulls or just a bunch of skulls piled up there? He's got this crazy jacket going on, and that's either like an insignia that he's hanging there, an incense thing, or some weird beverage holder. I don't know, but he looks very dapper, I have to admit. Not too shabby. So this secret layer is gilded foil, and the price tag, I'm just going to round it, $49.99. I'm just going to say $50 American, all right? It also comes with a single-use code for these sleeves that will show up on Arena, which is where we originally saw the artwork for these. But the Arena Redemption does have restrictions. It's not available in every country, right? So the next secret layer is special guest Matt Jukes. Now, I feel like this is going to be a very hit or miss secret layer because, first of all, you're going to have to be interested in the lands that are included here, right? We've got the Rootbound Crag, Glacial Fortress, Drowned Catacomb, Dragon Skull Summit, and Sun Petal Grove, which are the land cycle that say they enter the battlefield tapped unless you control the appropriate basic land type. So for the Rootbound Crag, for example, you need to have a mountain or forest out, or it comes into play tapped. So it rewards you for playing one of the other colors first in a basic land, and it makes it a great second land play because you get access to 2 colors, but it comes into play untapped. Now, in terms of rare lands, these are one of the middle of the road rare lands. This isn't like high level fetch land or shock land, but it also isn't absolute garbage. So I'm not sure exactly where the demand is going to fall in regards to that, but it's also going to be very subjective based on the artwork, right? Because I don't know different artwork styles and what they're called, but this feels like sort of like watercolors to me. And I think that somebody who originally liked the very first islands that they made when Magic the Gathering originally came out are probably going to really appreciate these lands, right? It's really up to your perspective. For me, the Drowned Catacomb and the Dragon Skull Summit are the most striking pieces of artwork, and the Sun Petal Grove is the least striking to me overall when I look at the range of them. So a super subjective secret layer, an interesting choice to just go ahead with. And this one is going to be available in both traditional foil and non-foil. You want the non-foil, it's $30. You want traditional foil, it's $40, right? So these are all just the borderless lands. After that, we've got Artist Series Magali Villeneuve. Now, the Artist Series, if you didn't know, is a really cool concept where Wizards of the Coast talks to the artists and asks what they would like to illustrate. And so as a result, the choices you have here from Magali are Death's Shadow, Mother of Runes, Elvish Mystic, and Forest. Mother of Runes we've seen a number of times. 1 white mana for a 1/1 that taps to give target creature you control protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Really strong ability slapped onto a solid cleric. The flavor text says, her boundless love has moved many. Her confidence has moved mountains. That's pretty cool. Honestly, the artwork here looks amazing. She has this sort of tribal, mystical feel. You've got this aura of power around her as well. And you've got all these kind of like mystical sigils, the runes, right behind her. The idea of being a mother of runes who also cares about living beings and can draw protective runes on them is flavorfully incredible, right? Then we've got Death's Shadow. 1 black for a 13/13. It gets -X/-X, where X is your life total. It didn't take long for people to pick up on how gross this card can be, because your life can be used as a resource in Magic, right? So if you feed a ton of your life away, all of a sudden you can get this 13/13 at its full size, right? There's other silly little things you can do with it too, but ultimately it's an interesting experiment in an extremely small casting cost, extremely high power and toughness, but with an interesting modifier that changes it based on the state of your life, right? That's cool. The flavor text says, it said that death mourns every soul it claims and lovingly crafts a mask for each of the departed. That's so cool. Death's Shadow being illustrated here as like a caretaker over the soul of whoever it is who's just passed. And that blue, whatever it is in the background, flowers or magical essence, compared to that sort of yellow sooty sky behind Death's Shadow, and the hair that's flowing out behind the face, but also in front of the face with this golden mask. This is really cool, right? Like, it actually kind of makes me think of Theros and the masks that they have there. I really dig it. Then you've got the Elvish Mystic, which looks really sweet. 1 green for a 1/1 that taps to add a green. Flavor text says, I ask you, one who has returned to the arms of nature, what dreams await in the slumber of death? That's a great sentence. What dreams await in the slumber of death? And the artwork shows this elvish druid looking, I assume, at, what is it? I assume it's the skull of somebody who they're connected to in some way, right? I mean, if you look at the kind of tribal braids that are flowing down off the back of the skull, it does feel in a way connected to the tribal headdress that this elvish mystic is wearing. But the skull also, it looks elongated. I don't know. It's interesting. Is this a skull that was decorated afterwards with talismans? Or is this like how it ended up, and this person, like the Elvish Mystic, knew this person when they were alive? I don't know. I love this artwork. This whole secret layer is a massive win. Look at the forest. It's absolutely stunning. It's done in the style of a wood carving. You have like a wolf on a hillside. You've got these trees. You've got the sun flowing out in the background. But in the center of the sun is the green mana symbol. And off to the side, you have these beautiful splashes of color where you have these radiant rainbow leaves, and a beautiful butterfly has settled down onto it. And in front of the whole thing, some autumnal leaves are drifting down. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's almost criminal because I would love to do a whole deck with these. It's so beautiful. Anyways, this layer will be available in both non-foil and traditional foil. $30 non-foil, $40 traditional foil. And the codes will be available for these sleeves on Arena, which is awesome. These are gorgeous. All right. After that, we've got another artist series. This one is Sidharth Chaturvedi. Now, I feel bad because I'm sure I mangled that name, right? But the cards that are included in this, Concordant Crossroads, never expecting this. It's a world enchantment, guys. 1 green for an enchant world, which they've changed to world enchantment. All creatures have haste. The flavor text says, the endless spectral procession crashed against the envoy's hiding spot. What are you? They taunted. Fighter or failure? Give in, daughter of the dead, and join your ancestor in eternal slumber. And you can see the artwork. You've got some kind of spectral carriage that's being pulled along. You've got multiple spectral horses leaping forwards. One of them has a rider with a blade. It's like a whole procession of spectral knights while these guys are like crouched down, hiding behind a pillar. If you guys don't know what an enchant world is, it's what it sounds like. It's an enchantment that's so powerful that it blankets the world. But the nature of enchantments that enchant the entire world are such that they interfere with each other. So only one can exist at any given moment. So they work kind of like legendary permanents do, but on a much crazier scale. When you put out a new enchant world, it gets rid of whatever previous enchant world was in existence. Now, all of the enchant worlds pretty much come from the set of legends. It's not something Wizards does anymore. I was genuinely surprised to see Concordant Crossroads getting a reprint. There's going to be a ton of people hyped about this. It's the biggest card in this secret lair by a long shot, but there are a lot of sweet cards in this secret lair. We also have the Nomad Outpost, right? Which is an uncommon land originally that's brought back as a rare version. It taps for a red, a white, or a black, comes into play tapped. The flavor text says, the old woman murmured, her last words too hoarse, too quiet to understand. The envoy steeled herself, feebly disguising her grief. The pilgrimage begins at dawn. So this is sort of like a death watch in a Nomad Outpost, right? You take a look at the artwork and it pretty much depicts exactly what's going on. You can see an elderly individual. You have somebody else leaning over them, giving them their ministrations or possibly listening to their final words. So pretty solid overall. It is definitely an interesting choice. Actually, this secret lair technically has no cards really. No, actually, Concordant Crossroads was rare when it was first printed, wasn't it? So there is a rare in here because everything else isn't. We have an island, which looks great. You have a very foreboding feel to it, though. Imagine being the individuals trapped in this boat. The waters are getting really choppy. I've actually been in a situation like this before. Back when I was visiting Newfoundland, where I'm originally from, I was out, like way out from shore with another fellow, and a storm started kicking up, and we started getting ready to row back to shore, and all of a sudden we lost one of the oars, and it was quickly sailing away, and I basically dived almost out of the boat to snag that oar. I was genuinely scared. It was a frightening situation. So this sort of art evokes that on a much larger scale because the size of the wave that they are on right now is terrifying. Look at all the white foam frenzy at the top of the water. Imagine as your boat is moving sideways, your fears of careening into one of these gigantic rocks, these outcroppings that are sticking up out of the water. Your boat would be smashed to flinders, and your body might be too. You might not even be able to try and swim away because you're destroyed just by getting slammed up against it. The flavor is incredible, right? Great, I love it. After that, we've got Ghost Quarter. Ghost Quarter taps for a colorless mana, or you can sacrifice it to destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. This is a really solid answer that can be put into pretty much any deck and is great for punishing decks that don't play with basic lands, right? So you can just smoke one of their best lands and they don't get anything, and that's a great deal for you. The flavor text says, upon scattering her grandmother's ashes, the envoy was bathed in a warm spectral glow. Wait a minute, this is the journey. They start at the Nomad's Outpost. The old lady dies. They go on a journey to take her ashes. They go on this island. They go on this trip through the waters, almost get smashed up into the rocks. They have to deal with all these ghosts and whatever because of the Ghost Quarter trying to set the grandmother's ashes at rest. That's amazing. That's so good. The flavor text from Concordant Crossroads. It says, give in, daughter of the dead, and join your ancestral and eternal slumber. Yes. And look at the artwork of Ghost Quarter. You can see all of these ancestors that are up there. And the most recent ancestor, that has to be probably the grandmother, right? Is she cloaked the same way? It's the same people. This is amazing. Oh, dude, is this like the Johannes Voss one where he wrote the poem? That's so cool. Oh, this is what happens when you get artists to create like this. I love it so much. All right, so this is available in regular foil and non-foil. Regular foil, $30. Traditional foil, $40. All right, and again, arena sleeves. Nice. That's awesome because these are beautiful. Next, another artist series. This one, Wayne Reynolds, who apparently is a dwarf lover and wanted to go 100% dwarves. So you get SRAM, the Senior Edificer, 1 white and 1 for a 2/2 legendary dwarf advisor. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle, you get to draw a card. Flavor text says, if it's broke, I'll fix it. If it isn't broke, I'll break it again and fix it again. All right. All right, and then the artwork shows SRAM standing there with a big old dwarven hammer, some crazy goggles. Does he have he has like a big metal toothpick or something. Look at that crazy orrery that he's reaching his hand out to. And what's glowing in the middle of that warhammer? That's funky looking. Next we got Balthor the Defiled. Nice. 2 black and 2, 2/2, legendary zombie dwarf. All minions get +1/+1. Exile Balthor. Each player returns all creatures that are black or red from their graveyard to the battlefield. Flavor text says, he was once one of the mightiest pit fighters alive. That description is still mostly accurate. So he's still a mighty pit fighter, but he ain't alive anymore. And actually, we got to see Balthor alive in the original storyline, and then we see him zombified, and it's very tragic. And this is some nutty artwork. You've got a stout little dwarf zombie with his signature helmet, but look at what he's wearing on his shoulders. He's wearing people's like hip bones, man. What is going on? He's wearing people's hip bones as shoulder guards, and he's got a squad of zombies behind him. That's amazing. Oh, and the next is Torbrand. What a great choice. And he feels all Middle Earthy, doesn't he? 3 red and 1 for a 2/4 dwarf noble. If a red source you control would deal damage to opponent or permanent opponent controls, you get to add 2 damage onto that. Amazing. Flavor text says, I like problems that can be solved with an axe. And it turns out when you have an axe, that's most of them. Yeah, I love it. This is traditional dwarf artwork. The armor looks great. The big flowing red beard, I should say, wandering forth with the giant axe in his hand like he's going down into some ancient ruins, the ancient dwarven halls to clear out the goblins that have claimed his ancestral home. It's got the right feel. And then we've got Depala Pilot Exemplar. 1 white, 1 red, and 1 gets you a 3/3 legendary dwarf pilot that is a dwarf lord, giving all your dwarves +1/+1, and gives your vehicles +1/+1 when they are creatures. And whenever Depala becomes tapped, you can pay X. If you do, reveal top X of your library, put all dwarves and vehicles from among them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, this is obviously a great fit for people who want to be playing dwarf decks, and we can see this artwork is from the world of Kaladesh, where Depala is flying around in contraptions, which is, I guess, wait, is she shown flying? Yeah. All right, she's on flying and she doesn't have flying. But whatever, you know what? It can be the vehicle she's in gives flying, so it's not that big a deal. Moving on, we have the non-foil and traditional foil versions of this. 30 non-foil, or 40 for the foil, all right? And this one as well will have 4 arena codes. Arena codes, perfect. And then we have the left-handed magic card Secret Lair. Now, I did a full video on this one, so if you're more interested in hearing my in-depth thoughts on that, you can go ahead and check that video out. You get Sisay Weatherlight Captain, Empress Galena, Giraffe's Messenger, Rogak Son of Roga, and Garuk Collar of Beasts. So this is an April Fool's Secret Lair with some jokes kind of tied in, and if you'd like I said, if you'd like to know more about it, I will link that video at the end so you can go and check that out, because this is a fun April Fool's Secret Lair, but it is actually a real Secret Lair as well. The non-foil will be $30, the foil version will be $40, and these sleeves will also show up in Arena. I totally dig it. Now let's move on to a totally nutty Secret Lair called Just Some Totally Normal Guys. I love this one. It's so silly. You've got Void Winnower. 9 mana for an 11/9 Eldrazi. Your opponent can't cast spells with even mana values. Your opponent can't block with creatures with even mana values. Flavor text says, I used to think penthouses were for jerks, but I'm starting to see the appeal. And it's this big Eldrazi tentacle monster. Like, penthouses suck, except when I'm laying on top of your building using my weird tentacles to winnow the void. It's just so goofy looking. I love it. It's silly. We've also got Goblin Settler. What a strange choice. 1 red and 3 gets you a 1/1 goblin. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target land. Flavor text says, the safer outcroppings were already claimed by goblin overachievers. So he goes there to claim the land, settle on it, and when he puts the flag in, it destroys the land. That is amusing. And look at the weird goblin face, and look at his flag. It's so goofy. Then we've got Collector Oof. 1 green and 1 for a creature, 2/2, that says activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. Pretty amazing, just shutting down activated artifacts. So, this orb I got back at SphereCon 1993. It looks a lot like the 94 version, but it's actually rounder. It's like poking fun at us as collectors. It's like, I know that it looks like this. It's like, take a look at this beta card. I know it looks like the alpha. Take a look at this alpha. I know it looks like the beta card, but the alpha card has rounder corners. I love it. That's a fun mention. And I like that the Collector Roof is just collecting some weird spheres that have green energy flowing in it. Like, what's the deal? And the goofy little pig face that he's got going on with his little spiky jacket. This is a lot of fun. And then we've got Vengevine, the Revengevine. 2 green and 2 for a 4/3 elemental with haste. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's the second creature cast this turn that you cast, you get to return Vengevine from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh my god, the flavor text says, Rargle, Gargle, Gargle! I looked at these before, but I didn't see the flavor text. I love it so much. Oh my god. Yes. Look at this thing. It just pops up out of the earth and goes, Rargle, Gargle, Gargle, because it can't speak English. I love it. Oh my god. And the card's so good too, let's be real. This is Powerhouse. That is awesome, isn't it? That's so much fun. Okay, so this one comes in non-foil and foil. Non-foil $30, foil $40, and yeah, they're gonna do it in sleeves. Nice. So other than that, they're just gonna be doing like bigger bundles. If you want to do these all together, you can get them non-foil, foil, whatever. That covers literally all of the bundles. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Links on the screen to the earlier Secret Lair video, and I was in an absolutely hilarious video over on MTG Open Mic's channel. Just came out today. Put it up on the screen. Go over, check it out. Tell him the Magic Historian sent you. Subscribe, and then tell him he owes me, all right? Thanks for coming by. Big shout out to my patrons. See you guys next time.